ownership and brand new renovations at Bayside Marina, the one-stop shop for all your boating needs in Panama City. Boat storage, valet service boat launching, pontoon rentals, non-ethanol fuel, on-site mechanic, ice, drinks, cleaning station, live bait and tackle. Our marina store is loaded. Relax and enjoy your day on the water at Bayside Marina, Big Daddy Drive, Panama City Beach, or call 850-234-7650. That's 234-7650.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Manhattan, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
There's no need to fear.
The Underdogs are here. The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air.
What time is it?
104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
Keep making noise! Keep making noise! Yeah!
What's going on, Northwest Florida? You are now riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, and this is ESPN Northwest Florida. I'm David Hayes, along with my good old buddy, Max Delyden, who's actually going to be hosting the show today. We didn't have Caveman Rick wasn't feeling great today, and we had James not be able to make it, so Max hit me up right before I was going to throw up best stuff. He's like, you're not doing that.
Yep.
We're doing the show.
We'll do it live. No, I'm co-hosting. It's your show, Dave.
It's our show, brother. You know how it goes around this way.
No.
You know, we can get in some Hey, college football is coming up soon, my friend. I know that's one thing we were just talking about, my singleness headed into the show. That's one thing I'm very thankful to be single for, man. I'm going to be really good at EA Sports College Football this year.
Yeah, and possibly Hard Rock Cafe as well.
Maybe so. I tell you what, bro. Just full transparency. So the other night I put on, I like to do parlays on Saturdays and Sundays. And normally I do parlays that have no opportunity of hitting. Like you throw $1 on it, the odds are, I think the last one that I did on Sunday was like a chance to win $4,000. So that's picking every single MLB game and getting it correct. And I only missed 3, but it doesn't matter. You got to hit them all. So then put a few in on the NHL and NBA playoffs. Boston Bruins messed that up for me by squandering their 2-goal lead.
Always Boston.
So I'm like, all right, well, I got how much? I had $16 left in the account at that point. So I was like, well, I'll put all of that on the Braves to beat the Mets on Sunday Night Baseball. And if I hit that, that would put me right close to where I started Sunday with. So I put the $16 down on the Braves at minus 110. What happens? Jeff McNeil with a walk-off home run against the Braves. So my Hard Rock luck, not so great right now.
Yeah, no, that's how it goes. Yeah. Last night I'll be honest, I had the Thunder. I was sweating that out until the last 2 or 3 minutes, and hey, that's Dallas. You can't keep the 1 seed around.
What did you think of that game, man? SGA right now. What was the question that they were asking Luka and Kyrie? Like, are you guys just giving him those shots? Like, giving them, like he's taking those shots.
He's ridiculous, and he's good. I thought he was going to hit that mid-range too with about 20 seconds left. He's ridiculous. He's so composed for being 22 years old, I think he is. The biggest, and you could tell he was so frustrated with himself because he was off, is Luka last night. Luka's a very unique enigma to me because he's obviously an elite scorer, elite top 3, top 5 in the league at scoring, but he's a defensive liability, and that's something that really gets exposed. Just about every stretch where they had to foul or needed to make a stop, he was off the court. And when he's going 6 for 20 from the field, and then it's 97-95, and he misses the front end of 2 shots, like that's the one thing he's supposed to do perfectly.
Yeah.
You saw him, like, he was banging his head with his hand on it's the most, like, Euro reaction ever.
Dude, one thing's so fun. Luka gets a lot of praise, and for good reason, right? He's a really good ball player. He's very crafty, right? He's like one of them IPAs out there. But the one thing that I've never been a huge fan, I've always thought he's a crybaby, which, who in the NBA really isn't a crybaby about the calls, right? And the more that they
every
stay
time he
on
gets
the
touched,
ref,
though,
right?
He's got that Euro in him.
But the other thing is like, I don't know if it was the game last night or if it was game 3, and there was like a little stretch where he kind of got injured, not a true injury, and then ends up having to, take the jump ball. They get a jump ball, and he's, writhing in pain and looking all, helpless and whatnot. Yeah, and then all of a sudden, the jump ball comes, and he jumps up and wins the jump ball. And it's one of those things that Luka plays when Luka wants to play, how Luka wants to play, which I don't think is very conducive to a championship-winning formula. But, however, I mean, they're 2 games away from moving on to the Western Conference Finals, and we'll see about it. But that's the one thing that if I'm a coach and my kids are looking up to Luka, I'm like, let's find it. I would rather you look up to Kyrie, honestly, or emulate Kyrie.
I love Dallas Kyrie. He's fun.
Yeah, he is, man. I mean,
he seems happy
in the building.
again.
Yeah.
Crazy when you get out of those areas.
That's
the Brooklyns of the world.
The Brooklyns of the world. I think there's something to do with that, but I also think that more or less, it really has to do with how the franchise is being run, right? Look at what Brooklyn had. Look at the excitement that came, especially with the signing of Kevin Durant. Then you've got the other two following them in Kyrie and James Harden. And the lack of success that they didn't get nothing out of that.
They played like 18 games together, 21 games. It was pathetic. And
it's sad.
It's sad. And it would, say what you want. It was a dumb rule at the time. You should have been able to play regardless at home or on the road.
We're talking about 2020 here.
Yeah, he should have been able to play. What happened? What happened to freedom of speech, freedom of choice? It's America.
Especially with something like that. But you know what it ties back to. I mean, we're going to go all Coach James Hale on him, but it doesn't matter.
No.
Look, right is right and wrong is wrong. And it's just, hey, if we can get these athletes, making the decisions that we want to be made, then, maybe the masses will follow.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's a rare Kyrie take that was correct from the get-go.
No doubt.
And, you can look at the box score.
Wait, you don't believe in a flat earth?
That's a more mellow take for Kyrie, too. And, I mean, you can look at the box score. Luka had a triple-double. Wow, that's great. But if you watch the fourth quarter, a lot of it falls on him. He wasn't hitting the shots. He plays a lot like if you go over to Frank Brown and you get around someone and they just try and reach and try and pick your pocket.
Yeah.
And that's his effort. You got to move your feet better. How come you're so shifty on offense? Where is that translating into on defense?
I mean, he just does not look athletic though. If we're talking about Luka, right?
But neither does Jokic, and Jokic plays hard-nosed D when you come at him. Do you see him pull the seat on Gobert?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Dude, Jokic is kind of the polar opposite of Luka, if you will, where meaning
he kind of, but they don't play as separate as you'd think, because they both play you can tell they grew up playing soccer, and they both have that craftiness to them.
Could you imagine seeing Nikola on a soccer field, as a professional soccer, standing there? What position would a guy like Jokic play?
Center back or maybe forward. He's a unicorn. Maybe he's like a Zlatan. You never know.
There you go. That's the headbutter, right?
Yeah. No. That's Zidane. Zlatan's the one with the ponytail.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, who talks in third person.
I think that's the third time you've corrected me.
That's all right. The two Z names. Who names their kid Zlatan or Zidane?
Zidane.
But at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of that falls on Luka. That's your franchise player. He's got to close. And some of it falls on Jason Kidd. He didn't make the right adjustments, and they let the Thunder hang around. They had so many windows to put him away. Obviously, monetarily, I wasn't angry, but if I was the Celtics, too, I would have been hooting and hollering for the Mavs. Because, if you can face the Mavs in the finals and you're Boston, you are cruising. That is a nightmare matchup for Dallas.
Which team do you think is more in trouble without their star players? So if you take Luka and he's having an off night, and you take SGA and he's having an off night, I mean, that was kind of what you portrayed when we started this segment. Do you think OKC is the better team when their star player, their numero uno, is down?
Yeah. They just play such good team ball. I mean, we saw... It's always different guys. Every time Holmgren hit a huge three, he had a couple huch threes.
I'm starting to like the way, I was
so wrong on him.
Believer in Chet Holmgren, mainly because same thing with Wemby, right? Is do you have the durability
and the stick build? But he played 82 games.
I know.
And coming off missing that first year, you and I were both kind of victory lapping. I think if I remember, we're that guy's a stick. He's fragile. 82 games, and he's durable. He moves well. He plays hard. His biggest knock still is he gets pushed around a little, but a lot of that too is... That's the way
that the game is going anyways.
Yeah, and Dallas kind of plays a bully ball system. It was interesting because a lot of their role players kind of came back to earth. I mean, PJ Washington still had a decent game. He had a double-double. He's playing well. But, you could tell OKC, Mark Denault, he is a very good coach, very smart guy. Fourth quarter, they were just throwing doubles at Kyrie and Luka and just letting, beat us with, PJ Washington, beat us with Terrence Jones Jr. They're like, come on, let's see what your role players got. Whereas, you can't do that against a team like the Nuggets because they have the Michael Porter Jr.'s of the world. The Nuggets are deep. They play such good team ball. They play basketball how it should be played, basically. How Jamal Murray and Jokic move without the ball and make passes. And then they filled their roster perfectly with an Aaron Gordon type who's just a menace at the rim. So.
Yeah, dunk contest king supreme over there. And then they hired Jonte Porter for their analytics, their betting analytics.
Yeah, unders only. He's a big. He'd do great on Big Ten football.
Have you seen numbers from that Big Ten football?
I was just gonna say just because it's always going under in the Big Ten,
especially when it's an Iowa game.
Yeah, Iowa game. Yeah,
dude. How about the Iowa coach? I think that this happened afterwards.
Snuck that in there. We'll
just call her the Iowa.
I don't blame her though. I mean, you're not going to do better than that team with Caitlin Clark, and I don't feel like that's a hot take to say that she's changed women's basketball for the better for them. They're doing private flights now for their games and stuff, which is really great. Is it economical and a good business decision? That's a whole nother rabbit hole. Probably not. But her debut is going to be the most watched debut out of any women's player that I can remember.
That's coming up soon, isn't it? Tonight. Yeah, they got what's the Connecticut Sun? Something. It's something with a C. Because at first I thought it was Chicago Sky, but I don't think it's Chicago.
Yeah, because I know the Pacers and Fever play tonight, and the Knicks and the Liberty.
Oh, so it's
is it Liberty?
It's Connecticut Sun. That's who they're playing, but it is the New York.
But
Liberty,
the Indy. Okay.
Yeah, so Indy and New York, both teams have games tonight.
And that's all the WNBA teams that I can name besides the Chicago Sky.
Oh, I'm sure you know a little bit more than that. Las Vegas.
Aces.
Yeah,
okay.
There you go. There's about the end of
the links, too, the links.
Yeah,
we had a few Minneapolis people in my fraternity, and obviously Minneapolis sports is cursed. And we would just make fun of them because, the Wild would get knocked out every time in the playoffs to the Blackhawks, and then the Lynx were their only team that was semi-competitive. And
how many teams do you think there are in the WNBA? I have no idea. This feels like an inside drive conversation right here. I thoroughly enjoy this.
Yeah, this is like a sober high conversation.
Sober high conversation.
14, 16.
All right, so I'm looking at it here. We got 3, 6, 12 teams. 12 teams. So you've already, half of them. What about Atlanta? What would you think their team name would be?
Oh, man.
It actually kind of makes sense.
But
it has nothing to do with Falcons. Yeah, right. That would be. It's the Atlanta Dream. Atlanta Dream. So the Chicago Sky, Connecticut Sun. We've already gone over.
Just go down the line. I want to see what I can get.
Indiana Fever.
LA, the Sparks.
Yep, that's another one. They're on the Western Conference.
That's a backyard basketball reference. If you had Lisa Leslie and the OG backyard basketball with KG and Pablo, you were balling.
Hey, backyard, all of the backyard sports,
especially the first ones were each one that had the first one where they had pros was the best one of them.
How have they not? And I think what's his name, Jason Kelsey, has talked about trying to reinvigorate these franchises. How have these not come back? Because when we played these, I don't know about you, but for me, it was on the computer.
Yeah, that was the best.
It wasn't on Xbox, but I would love to play that in the form of, I wonder if I would love it. You know what I mean? Because I was a kid when I was playing it prior, but I think just the nostalgia aspect of it, I would dive right back into it.
During COVID, or maybe it was Christmas coming home from college, my little brother and I would do a backyard baseball season on the computer, and we were like, dude, this game is still awesome. They've got great one-liners.
So not even that long ago you were doing this.
4 years ago. And
all right, give me your non-pro, and it can't be Pablo Sanchez because that was everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
Give me your favorite outside of that.
Which sport?
Oh, let's stick with baseball. Stick with baseball, and then maybe go to all of them. I think I played backyard basketball the least out of all of them.
Yeah. Backyard hockey was really fun too, actually.
I think I played that.
Mike Modano. Yes. That's a tough one. If you're going baseball, Pete Wheeler's an obvious answer for the bunts and speed. You got Kenny Lofton and him. That's a 1-2 bunt. Derek Jeter, if you want to load the bases. He had some speed in 01. And then, Mikey Thomas was a fun one. Ahmed Khan.
Ahmed Khan.
Dude.
He had a twin brother too, right?
Yeah, Amir. Little guy.
Khan. Yeah, absolutely.
There were some
and then
bums
the Yamaguchis.
too. The Yamaguchis.
Brother and sister, right?
Kenny had wheels.
Yes, Kenny had wheels. I always love getting the fast guys.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I can name so many of them, like Ernie Steele, Gretchen Hasselhoff.
I started a new road to the show on MLB The Show.
Yeah.
And I named him Reggie Rocket, first name after Reggie Miller, and I just wanted to have a cool. But he's basically Ellie De La Cruz reincarnated. So I just made it up to AAA. But yeah, I had like 100 RBIs in 40 games or so. So it was working out well for old Reggie Rocket. But back to the WNBA here. We've got the Washington team. They are not the Washington women's basketball team. That is it. The Washington Mystics.
Wait, are they DC or are they Washington?
It says Washington here.
Okay.
So we'll go with that. But their logo is DC with something mystifying up there at the top of the C.
Yeah, interesting.
Dallas. I don't know this one. I mean, I know it because it's in front of me, but I would have never guessed this.
I don't know. Coyotes.
Wings. I guess like Mavericks.
Okay.
Like wings of an airplane. Las Vegas Aces, Los Angeles Sparks, Minnesota Lynx, Phoenix.
Oh, man.
They use this in thermometers. Or at least they used to.
Yeah, and I'm going to need help.
Mercury. The
Mercury. I could have got that.
Yeah.
You had to give me all day for that.
I believe Brittany Griner is actually going to be starting out on the disabled list or the injured list as well this year. So there you go. And then our final one for the WNBA teams is going to be Seattle.
Sound?
No, that would be the MLS
soccer?
team, the Sounders.
Sounders,
right?
yeah. Seattle.
But this is a broad term. We just, you know what? We had the Northern Lights.
Seattle Sky. Chicago Sky.
No. But what caused us to have the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis?
You're gonna have to answer that. I'm not a science guy.
A storm was.
The storm.
It was like a geomagnetic storm or something.
Okay.
That was at least what To me, it was like cool seeing everyone with the pictures and whatnot, but it's like if I can't see it with my naked eye,
I just up north it's really cool. Like if you're in Wisconsin, there's
You've
some
seen it
beautiful,
before?
yeah. It's cool that it got to hear that.
Yeah, heck yeah. Like I said, the pictures were really cool. Maybe if I had an iPhone 11 Pro, because I'm just on the regular old iPhone 11, and I'm not getting rid of that until this, because 11's my favorite number. So I'm riding this one out till they throttle it down, and then I'll figure out what the next move is.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I get it. Did you, also, we got to mention this, Arnold baseball playing tonight.
Huge.
We're both Panama City Beach guys. Both teams either way represented at state, but Arnold versus South Walton, 7 p.m. Public Sports Park, Field 2.
Field 2. Make sure y'all get over there, man. All of the tickets got to be on GoFan. You got to get it on the GoFan app. But a lot of people were thinking that this game was going to be tomorrow night, but they've moved it to tonight to go ahead and make sure that they get it in. Public Sports Park, Field 2, 7 p.m. Arnold, South Walton. A trip to the Final Four on the line.
Speaking of trips, my neighbor Trip Cameron on the Arnold.
Hey, there you go, man. You got Cooper Miles over there, Eli Blair, a litany of other names.
Yeah.
And there's not big shoes to fill, but don't you think after Arnold winning the soccer state championship, those baseball players are like, man, we're happy for y'all, but we got to bring this home as well. There's got to be some pressure for them.
Oh, absolutely. And I think they're excited. You're basically playing at your home turf there in PCB Sports Complex. We're making
I wonder how the kids feel about that. Like, would you rather be playing? I think the field is underwater. They have no opportunity to play. But would they rather play at their Arnold complex, or would they rather play it at the Public Sports Complex?
It's still dirt, right? Or is it all turf?
I think it's all turf. The last time I played out there for softball, I would.
They don't have any that have some dirt. I feel like you gotta have dirt for,
especially for the infield, man. Why you want to dive on carpet all the time?
What is this? The Expos?
The Expos, Montreal, baby. But it is a beautiful facility. That would be a fun question to ask those guys, though. What if you had the choice to play at the home or play over there at your other home, the Public Sports Park? Which one would it be? And also, I believe Mosley's spring game has been moved to May 16th, and they're actually going to be holding that. I think they're playing Florida High. But that's going to be this May 16th over there at Gablack. So Mosley's spring game will be at Gablack.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. It was really cool being at Gablack last year, calling the Mosley football game. We called that from on top of. Yeah, it is. That is a cool.
I mean, it's not like Gablack.
What's next on the docket for you?
We didn't cover the Celtics at all. The Cavaliers actually were pretty impressive last night without Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
He's been a menace the whole series. I don't think it was very expected that he'd be out. He looked a little gimpy at the end of that game. He must have had something really wrong to not play.
He needs to get bit by a spider.
Yeah, he does. Spider Mitch.
There you go. Get that Spider-Man capabilities going.
The Cavs were up 65-64 in the third quarter briefly. Again, I really luck boxed my way. I had a same-game parlay on this one, and it was Celtics money line and under 212. And the live was like 230 for a while, and then thankfully everyone decided to play defense or go cold.
Yeah.
There's no Spider Mitch to score, so
yeah, that helps out a lot.
But man, I mean, the Cavs, credit to them for stealing one. I think they're done. I mean, it's kind of funny listening to the NBA TNT guys because they have just said nothing matters until the Celtics make the conference or the.
But do you disagree with that though? Like with what we've seen from the Celtics?
Not really.
So you
like I don't think the Pacers or Knicks. I mean, especially because the Knicks are so crippled now. I mean, they need OG Anunoby. That's such a key piece. I know I'm biased as a Hoosier, but I mean, he's been their X factor since they got him.
And they don't have no Julius Randle, and they're having to get so many.
Isn't Mitchell Robinson out too?
I believe he's out.
Like,
yeah,
they can't run.
They just got back Burks, I believe.
Yeah,
and
but
Jalen Brunson his foot's injured. You saw that in Game 4,
and he's definitely playing through some pain. It's not like the WNBA or college women's where they can go 6.5, 7 deep. That you need at least 8 or 9, 10 in the NBA, even if it's for a few minutes.
Obviously, when you have a huge lead like that, the Pacers were playing 12 deep the other night. But that game was. I don't expect more of that tonight, especially.
It's gonna be a good game tonight.
At MSG. Exactly. I would expect low scoring. But this would be huge for the Pacers. If the Pacers can get this one tonight, they're going to build momentum to probably close this series out in 6 games. But the huge thing is going to be, if I'm Boston, I would rather play the Knicks and their depleted bench more so than the Pacers, who are not a better team than the Celtics. Not even close. Not even in the same tier.
The Pacers can get streaky, though.
But that's the thing. And what is basketball? It's a game of runs. So you just, and if Hallie's showing up, man, that guy's one of the more fun guys for me to watch in the league.
And we don't know what version we're going to get because he's still playing a little hurt, I think. Yeah. And
back spasms.
Since he got hurt in the first half of the year, he's been a totally different player. I mean, you don't know what you're going to expect with him. It hasn't been as consistent as he was cruising for MVP briefly at the start of the year. We'll see, though. And as the kids say, I don't want to see any more of this Madison Square Garden glazing of the celebrities sitting courtside. The NBA players do not care about the celebrities sitting courtside in a playoff game. But
they're not showing the celebrities for the players, though, right? Like on the broadcast, that's more or less for the people to be like, look who's at the game.
Yeah, spoiler, Spike Lee's always been there.
Where's Taylor Swift at?
Yeah, you think Tyrese Halliburton's getting rattled by Ben Stiller's fandom for the Knicks? No.
I don't think so.
Ben Stiller hasn't been relevant since Night at the Museum.
So you're saying get him off a court side and put him up in the press box or something?
Yeah, get some rowdier fans down there. I would all I'm saying is it's not a storyline. What?
Pat Bev loves it whenever you got some rowdy fans down there by the sideline.
Oh, yeah, Pat Bev, Mr. Suspended.
You know what? As I really like Nat basketball players, like Mosquitoes, guys who are very annoying. Pat Bev is a Nat. So that's why, to me, it wasn't as big of a deal. Obviously, you shouldn't be throwing things at fans. That was a horrible look. But it didn't bother me so much.
It'd be better to do that.
Another guy who's a Nat right now, TJ McConnell. He's making it.
Yeah,
he's making Jalen Brunson have to work when he's picking him up 96 feet and he's having to work there. Then he gets on the defensive side of the ball. Now you got to travel around and follow this guy who's running for no reason. Yep. Like Josh Hart said, he's an annoying little sucker. You know what I mean? So
I'm sure he meant harsher too.
Oh, he said harsher.
Yeah,
he said harsher.
I think
I had to PG 11 it.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And Pat Bev, I think thinks he's better than he is too. So it is what it is.
Can you be in the NBA and not think that you're better than what
that's true.
you are?
They're all
unless you're
very
Bronny.
confident.
I guess.
Well, I know he's probably confident too. I'm sure he's got some.
I wonder about that. I think that he's got to have some confidence, but also how about the combine? And he's been listed as 6'4" on every single roster. Comes out now, he's not in shoes. 6'1". Bronny's only 6'1".
Is he really? That's
Yeah.
official.
That's going to be tough.
How
And
are we
watch
off
what's
by
going to end up happening.
The
Watch
Lakers
what's
pick
going to. No, I don't think so, dude.
No
For
one?
some reason, no. I think the daggum Atlanta Hawks are going to falcon this thing, and they're going to take Bron
1-1.
number 1 overall pick,
Dude,
and
honestly-
find a way to get Bron over there.
Honestly, like that's not a terrible idea because this
Money
draft's-
wise, that's about it.
Well, this
The
draft
is
stinks
garbage.
too. Like you're not getting like I would like. It's funny because this kind of helps NBA out that Atlanta got it because whether or not like I'm sure we have a lot of Hawks fans here.
Yeah.
They're kind of I'm not. I'm a Bulls fan, so we've only gotten lucky. But they're kind of an unserious franchise as far as like being like a threat.
Yeah.
Kind of like, and again, the Bulls are not a serious. The Bulls got really lucky with that Jordan stretch, and they've been horrible since. They haven't won a playoff game since like 2015.
Ooh, when they had Derrick Rose, they
playoff
had a
series.
beautiful little stretch.
Yeah, since 2015
Yeah,
or whatever.
exactly.
Yeah, it was the last time they won a playoff series or
Last
game.
time, the last time Derrick Rose was something serious was when he was with the Knicks, I believe.
Well, that was a different version of Derrick Rose.
Yeah, exactly. But a
like,
version that was still applicable to the NBA.
But like the Derrick Rose that was peak. Oh man,
There wasn't many like him, man. I remember watching him
Yeah.
in Memphis, just being
that injury stunk.
for real.
But I don't know. I just think the Hawks should do it. Like having the first pick in this draft kind of stinks because you can't win. You're throwing a dart.
Who do you think the best player in the draft is? Because I was watching them mock up the first round, and it was like
It's all Euro guys.
that's what I was about to say. You're not even going to get a collegiate guy. None of us are going to know who's being picked until like the 6th pick. And you got Donovan Clingan in there. You got Dalton Connect, and those are like
Yeah.
your 2 best collegiate players in the draft.
It's going to be really confusing too when Nikola Topic gets picked. So there's Nikola Jovic, Nikola Jokic, and Nikola Topic.
There you go.
I mean, on here, shoot, man, you're really throwing a dart. I'll take a flyer and take someone that no one's going to say, assuming he doesn't get charged with anything. I'm going to go with Terrence Shannon Jr. Really? June 10th, he has a case.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be in the clear, but I'm going to take a flyer on him. Pre everything that was going on, he was balling. So
Terrence
we'll see.
Shannon Jr.
Take a little flyer.
How about Ipe? Did you hear that news? That broke like right after we got
Yeah.
off the phone. He's going to be pleading not guilty.
Oh, he's saying not guilty now?
Pleading not, from what I read, pleading not
Well,
guilty, but he's
no way.
still going to be taking a plea deal.
Pleads not guilty, but he's taking a plea deal.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe
Procedural move. What is that?
Hey, Boston Tim saying Max showing off the guns. Look at him over there. Tell him about that shirt. Where'd you get that from?
The college basketball store. It was a Facebook ad. Thanks, Tim. I did it for you.
There you go.
Just like Jason Tatum would, 33-11, and I think 10.
Yeah.
But, yeah, come on.
Sun's out, guns
Can't
out,
work
baby.
out right now, though. Got a strained neck, so
You can still do some
go
push-ups.
Hoosiers.
There you go. All right, take us to break, bro.
Can do some push-ups just like Drake. Woo.
There you go. Hey,
Yeah, hey,
Kendrick's got him pushing up and down and up and down. I might have to come in with one of the beef songs
Yeah,
today.
please do. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, all over ESPN Northwest Florida.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
Well, good morning, Coach. This is Bubba. How you
Hey,
doing?
Bubba. I'm doing pretty good, man. How you doing? You sound a little down,
I'm
Bubba.
good. Oh, I'm up, man. I'm up because I avoided what's old number what's his number 45. He's having a little trouble up there in New York City. Now they're talking about how he doesn't sleep in the same room as his wife. Well, hell, I don't even sleep in the same house as my wife.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Tuesday. A mixture of some clouds and possible thunderstorms the remainder of the day with a moderate breeze coming out of the south around 15 miles per hour and look for it to be 78. Tonight, there will be a variety of some clouds and a possibility of thunderstorms with the temperature reaching 76. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 81. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Harts Marine on 231 and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
Ellis Agency Insurance has been serving Panama City and Bay County for years. They offer a full line of affordable insurance coverage of all types. Many people are attracted to Ellis Agency Insurance because of their friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call independent agent Johnny Ellis for a true comparison of your personal or business insurance. Ellis Agency Insurance at the Old Cullen Insurance location, 1134 Harrison Avenue, across from Dandy Donuts and Deli. Call 763-1627.
Don't call it a podcast.
Frequency modulation is a big step forward in radio.
Broadcasting live from the world's most beautiful beaches. The Afternoon Underdogs on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And you're back here with the Afternoon Underdogs. We got a special caller on the line here, Cole Guion out of Scottsdale, based out of St. Louis originally. Cole, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you? This has been long overdue, I feel like.
I know it has, and I feel like you've got a wealth of sports knowledge as well, where sometimes we get pigeonholed into a few different sports, and so we were going to hit you across the board with some stuff.
For sure. I might be a little rusty. I haven't done radio probably in about 5 years. I did a little bit at my alma mater, but we'll see how this goes.
That's right. You're alma mater of Dayton. We can start out talking about Dayton, actually.
Do that, please.
He has had a pretty lucky, or not lucky, I guess, blessed sports run between Dayton and the Cardinals. Cole, if you want to talk about Dayton when you were there and the run they made, and how you kind of got screwed too.
Yeah, I wasn't a Dayton fan growing up, but I went there and became a fan. And the first year I was there, we made the Elite Eight, and the rest is kind of history. We made the tournament every year I was there, and they've been on and off good since then, and had that 2020 COVID year, which we don't like to talk about. But yeah, I'm a proud Flyer fan, and they've been good to me over the past 10 years.
That actually reminds me too. I need to ask you. So who do you think was the other team in that COVID year who would have been a threat? Because a lot of people in this region think that their team had a chance, and I don't even consider them in the picture. So
he's talking about.
He knows.
Okay,
he knows.
Right. It was Kansas. They were the best team.
Well, don't tell FSU fans that. They think it's just like the ACC getting left out of the playoff. That they think they were way better than Dayton and Kansas.
Dayton played Kansas in the Maui that year, and it went to overtime. It was a great game, but they were definitely better than us, and they were, I think, like the best team that year. And I think Ken Palm would probably confirm that.
Oh, Ken Palm. I remember this last tournament, Max was huge on Dayton, and well, I mean, look, I
got everyone to take Dayton money line for the first round.
You did have us that, and then and Dayton was kind of down in that first game, right? They were down double digits, I believe, and then
they were down
flew their way back.
Yeah, they embarrassed Nevada. But what see what you did there with the flew their way back.
I want to ask you, what is it that makes Dayton one of those teams that they might not be your powerhouse per se, a blue blood powerhouse, but what is it that keeps them in the runnings with the rest of those big schools?
I think some of it has to do with the home court advantage. We'll go undefeated about like every other year, every third year at home, and it's by far the toughest place to play in the conference, and I think that goes a long way when you're building a tournament resume, and you have 0 bad losses because you lost no quad 2, 3, or 4 games at home. I think that goes a long way, and the fan support. It's sadly, it's the only thing to do in Dayton. So people love going to games. There's a single A team and a college basketball D1 team there. So as far as sports go,
did you ever have the opportunity to rush the floor?
No, you know what? That is one downside. Is when you're Dayton, it's tough to get a top 10, top 15 team to come play with you because there's no upside for them. It's a really hard game for them, and beating us isn't the greatest resume builder, and losing to us is horrible. So no top 10 team no blue blood is ever going to come play us at Dayton, at least.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. But I mean, it is a tough place. It's even it's way tougher than like the Grand Canyons of the world. But I know Grand Canyon's gotten a couple teams out there. I mean, it gets rowdy at least. But and VCU was good when you were there too. I mean, between the shock and havoc.
Yeah, they're still good. Mm-hmm.
But do you think just with that being like the quintessential part of Dayton. That's how because like I was talking on air and we were talking about NIL for different college hoops teams, and I feel like Dayton really gets more NIL money than people would think. I think VCU's there too, maybe Davidson as well. I was curious if you had any more knowledge on that, just since you guys are pretty in the know.
The collective at Dayton is great, and they've really embraced it, unlike some universities that just complain about it. I think it's great for the students, and I think it's great for especially Dayton to kind of, welcome people and pay them for what they're worth. I don't have any problem with it, and I know the older generation feel like they complain about it, but, why not? I think it's great.
Yeah, and I mean, between Obi Toppin and Toppin. I always say Toppin. I always say Toppin. I don't know why. But and Deron Holmes this year probably going first round. I mean, it's panning out. I mean,
I know. I was watching Deron a little bit at the combine. He's killing it. He's played his way into the first round, which is great.
Well, speaking of the combine, what do you think? Who do you think ends up drafting Bronny James?
I don't know. It's such a weird. I don't know. There's no precedent for this where it's like you draft someone's son to get, the prized possession of LeBron. I think the Lakers have talked about it. I don't know if they'll do it for sure. I think you kind of have to get commitment from LeBron in order to draft Bronny, right?
Yeah, I think you got to ask for permission.
The last segment too, Dave was saying what if Atlanta just does a classic Atlanta team thing and just took him 1-1 because everyone kind of sucks in this draft class.
Yeah, but then what if LeBron's I don't really want to go to Atlanta? I know he said he wants to play with his son, but what if a team takes him and then he just doesn't go there?
That would be a fun list to comprise. Name the teams that if they drafted Bronny, LeBron still wouldn't go over there and play.
Totally. Atlanta might be one of them.
I kind of want to set up an all-star event where it's the guys are at bottom of the barrel on each team. And, I mean, you never know. Bronny could end up being good. He just...
Defensively.
Maybe he'll be good offensively too. He's 18, 19, and he's got the genetics of LeBron James. So
that's fair.
Minus the height part.
He can absolutely, if he's healthy, he can absolutely carve out a role for himself, whether that be the 7th or 8th man on a team. I still think defensively he's going to be really good.
What do you think it was that we saw from him in college this year, though? Do you think that was just not being a great part of the team fit? Averaging 4.8 points a game. First year, though, do you think maybe that the coach was like, you know what, I'm not going to buy into all of the Bronny James hype, and so he puts him in bad positions? I mean, why do you think it was that he just didn't have an explosive year at the collegiate level, but yet still there's a lot of hope and hype around him for the NBA level?
Yeah, it's a fair question. I think a big part of that is he didn't get a full offseason. He had heart issues in the offseason. Yep. He wasn't fully healthy and didn't even really – I don't even think he didn't play the first 5 to 10 games of the year. If you look back to his high school tape, he was playing way better. I know that's obviously a different level, but
yeah, I mean,
he looked a lot better coming into college, and I think once he can sustain a little bit a better bill of health, I think – he at least should be, his floor is being a great defensive player, and I think he can even build off of that, like you said, Max.
Yeah, and I think coming off, cardiac arrest, I think anyone would be a little thrown off. You can't just get back to it. I'd be worried I'm going to have another heart attack if I'm pushing myself at all.
100% agree.
But shouldn't have gotten those boosters.
But I'll also say that if it was any other player in the world without that name attached to them, he would be going back to college this year.
But he'd be at Duquesne.
Yeah.
Duquesne.
There you go.
Hey, sneaky good. But that's the allure that comes with being LeBron James' son, I guess. So
it does.
We'll see. I mean, you can't tell me he can't hold his own with Thanasis Antetokounmpo. That guy shouldn't be playing basketball in Europe.
Are the Antetokounmpo brothers, are they essentially still playing because of their brother? And he continues to. Yeah, I mean, that's a very fair point. I would rather have the stature of their brothers rather than Bronny James, but if he is that good defensively and he can give you 8 to 10 points a game, which might be asking a little bit much to start. And again, I'll go back to agreeing with you guys with the cardiac arrest. That does change things, or not change things. It changed things. But yeah, if he can bring defensive prowess to a team and then give you some buckets along the way, he might can carve himself out a nice NBA career. But however, what if LeBron only plays 1 year with a team, with whatever team it is that Bronny goes to, and then retires? Is Bronny even sought after anymore?
Rage cut.
Totally. It just feels like a mess for a GM to take him, and maybe it works out for a year, but then in 2 years down the road, you're stuck with a Bronny James that you took in the first round, and LeBron's gone, and it doesn't seem like a good long-term plan.
You know what would be a fun narrative? LeBron and Bronny to Charlotte. Yeah, I don't know if Michael Jordan does. Michael Jordan still have any ties?
Is that supporting cast any better than
no? Well, Lonzo. I'm just saying the narrative. LaMelo. I'm just saying about the narrative.
But Jordan's gone.
Yeah, I was about to say Jordan did get out of that. Yeah,
not a good owner.
Yeah,
well,
it's okay.
But still, LeBron's not a good GM. Jordan's not a good owner,
dude. Oh man,
Cole, I'd love to hear your thoughts too before we transition to baseball because I know you're very vocal about Luka. I'd love to know what you think about this Thunder team, and if you think they have a legitimate shot at the Nuggets, assuming they win this series, and what you saw from Doncic last night, because I feel like that's the Doncic that you always describe.
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first question, I think the Thunder are deep. I don't really care that they're young. I think they proved last night that their immaturity or lack of experience doesn't matter in crunch time, and I think they were able to figure it out down 2-1 on the road, down double digits. I mean, that's about as big as a win as you're going to see. And I think they're just as talented as a Minnesota or a Denver, and they're going to have home court. And I don't know. I feel like they've kind of gotten written off for some reason, even though they're the 1 seed in the West. And I'm very high on them, and I think they'll win that series and challenge whoever they play in the conference finals. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying too, the Mavericks have a lot of detrimental factors to them because, Luka might be one of the more talented offensive players in the league, if not, top 5, top 7. But Jason Kidd's a bad coach. We've seen him in other spots. That's strike one. Mark Denault, he totally adjusted to him last night in the fourth quarter, basically making them try and beat us. Oh, sorry. I was just looking at Dave. Trying to beat them with, Terrence Jones Jr. and PJ Washington. Good luck with that. Those are terrible role players. We were saying earlier last segment, that's not a Michael Porter Jr. type role player who's going to actually crush you. Right. I don't know. I think it's very telling when you have your 2 superstar players sitting out. Granted, Kyrie had 5 fouls, but on every big defensive possession when there's going to be a foul or anything, Luka plays basketball like it's pickup basketball, and you get around him and he just tries to reach around and hit it out.
Totally.
It's just I really wonder how much of that is an effort thing. I don't think I think if you're that shifty on offense, there's no reason you shouldn't be able to stand in front of someone on defense. He's a big body. I don't know what he's not seen there, but I mean, easier said than done.
Not true. I'm sure it's not true laziness. It just comes off as he's lazy. I don't know why he's not a better defender at least. Someone like Steph, who wasn't a good defender, really worked on it and gave it effort and became, replacement level at least at the defensive position.
Yeah,
they're literally taking Luka out in crunch time on defense. It's horrible.
Yeah, and as a superstar, face of the franchise player, it's kind of embarrassing. And I agree with what you said on Steph. He also really bulked up and became good at. He was honestly, I would say he is more than above average at going to the rim too. I mean, he had some really good finishes down the stretch, especially in the Warriors' 3rd and 4th rings, where that's a Steph that wouldn't have done that in their first 2. And I think it really got to him when he was starting to get bullied by the Cavs when he lost that 3-1 series. I think that's what he decided to bulk up. I don't know. Take some TRT or something and get ripped.
Hey, but and it worked out for him, and it was something that I would say has lengthened his career to be as good as what he has been on both sides of the ball for Steph. I do agree with Cole there on maybe it's not just laziness, but I think that it is a effort issue though. And if you're coach, if you're the franchise player and you're not giving it your all on defense, I mean, what was one of the things that you go to that 3-1 series? What was the thing that saved the Cavaliers was the defense of LeBron James. So if you're one of those top tier star players, I want to see you dominating, or maybe not even dominating. I want to see you putting forth effort on both sides of the ball. We see it offensively all the time, but again, if you're on the bench in crunch time, when your team's on defense, that's just not a great sign.
It's a bad look.
It is.
Yeah, no one's asking him to be a LeBron level defender. It just we want him to be out there at the end of the games and be, replacement level or not below average.
Yeah, because you get a stop and then you're on the fast break and Luke is on the bench.
Right.
I mean, it's like, come on, man.
Right. It's tough. Luckily, people don't care about defense when they're ranking players, and they'll put Luka number 2.
Yeah.
It's like fantasy baseball, right? Unless your league is specific on it. Yeah, fantasy baseball defense really ain't got nothing to do with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, like we start Austin Riley in our league. Just kidding, Dave.
Hey, he's
he's not bad, but he's actually like an average above average.
He's gotten a lot better. I think any player that plays with Ron Washington for a good amount of time is going to get better on the defensive side of the ball.
And before we cut to the break, and Cole, if you can, if we can do one more segment, we'd love to get a little baseball pivot too with you. But if you're too busy, no worries. But I was curious, why do you think Jason Tatum gets so much slack compared to other superstars? Because how is Jaylen Brown not just absolutely crucified for making $60 million a year and still not like, I can dribble better lefty than Jaylen Brown?
Ooh.
I think some of it is like we were just talking about. He's very good at defense. He'll take on an SGA or the best team's offensive player, and people don't really look at that as much. And I think the other one is he's been around for 7 years now. He's been, I guess he hasn't taken the Jokic next step, and I think people were expecting that maybe. I still consider him a top 5 player in the league, and he's going to probably be on the first team again this year for the 3rd straight time. So I don't know if you can ask much more out of a guy that's the best player on the best team, and yeah. I guess the answer to that is just he hasn't taken the best player in the league step.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, it's tough too because I don't know when Jokic is going to give up that seat. So
right.
But we got to cut to a break. Do you have time for one more to talk baseball, or do you got to go?
Yeah, I'll stick around and talk about this crappy division that we're in.
Yeah, we can talk. We'll talk NL East too, just for the Braves fans out there. I'd love to hear an unbiased person talk about it. But sweet, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs here, 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, all across ESPN Northwest Florida. Looking forward to getting back with you in 5.
America's team plays here.
Swing and a miss. Struck him out. That's number 10.
The Atlanta Braves on ESPN Northwest Florida. Charlie Morton, Max Fried, and Chris Sale lead the Braves' dominant pitching rotation.
That's 18 up, 18 down.
Sponsored by Panama City Toyota, Ellis Agency Insurance, Bestway Portable Buildings, PCB Hobby, and ESPN Northwest Florida.
Got him swinging, strike 3.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Tuesday. A mixture of some clouds and possible thunderstorms the remainder of the day with a moderate breeze coming out of the south around 15 miles per hour and look for it to be 78. Tonight, there will be a variety of some clouds and a possibility of thunderstorms with the temperature reaching 76. Mostly sunny tomorrow with a high of 81. This weather is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Hey, Howard, what you doing up there? Listen to this story about Swampy Jack and the Swamp Ape. The Florida Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah, like Abominable Snowman at the Old Miracle Strip Amusement Park.
No, Clyde, like the Florida Bigfoot. They call it a Swamp Ape.
Right. Swampy Jack's One-Go Adventure in PCB has a ride called a Swamp Ape, like the Abominable Snowman, only turbocharged.
No, I'm listening to a story on YouTube about Swampy Jack and the Swamp Ape.
Right, Swampy Jack. That's his story and the reason he built his Swamp Ape ride.
Man, I love that Abominable Snowman. What was the song I used to ask for?
I remember you like Kickstart My Heart.
Yeah, that's it. What say we go to Swampy Jack's in Panama City and give it a whirl?
I hear he's got a mostly tame swamp ape there.
Oh, come on. You can't catch him, much less tame him. Why, they're the hide-and-seek world champion.
Swampy Jack's One-Go Adventure, 284 Powell Adams Road, Panama City Beach. You think you've been on your grind? The 11-year-old cashier at the Gin Gin puts in more hours than you.
Do any of you people do any actual work?
Just saying.
We might need to work on your sales pitch.
Less work and more play.
All right, show's over. Everybody back to work.
Now back to the Afternoon Underdogs, ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back on the Afternoon Underdogs. I want to say Afternoon Drive every time just because I co-host that
a little
first time with
combination
Mulvey.
there.
Yeah. Got some Kendrick playing in the background here, Not Like Us. I don't know if you've been following that rap beef. It has been quite the battle. I think Drake just said good vibes going into the summer. He was not trying to discuss more with Kendrick.
Yeah, I think it's time for him to take a little time out.
He puts up bangers, though.
He does put out bangers, but I just think that this is a form that he necessarily...
Kendrick's a smart guy. He's won a Pulitzer Prize. He's not dumb, so probably not the best guy to pick a fight with, and he is definitely... hard, as they say.
How about like a Kendrick Eminem? And that, not that they would ever beef, but that would, that would be kind of wild. But yeah, it's been fun. I mean, especially when they're dropping like songs at 6:16 in the morning.
I know, and you're like, okay, coming in hot.
Here we go.
But anyway, on the sports front, let's get into some baseball here. Let's start with the NL East, just because that's the region we're in. Cole, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sweet. I'd love to know, how you think the NL East shapes out and who your NL favorite would be right now. Obviously, there's a lot of Braves fans here, some Marlins fans somewhere, but mostly Braves. So I'd love to hear what you have to say about that division.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the Phillies. People might not like to hear that on this radio, but between their pitching and offense and their home field and the playoffs, I don't know how you can go against that. And they're way better than they were last year. And last year they were pretty successful in the playoffs. So obviously the Braves are good. And this isn't like anti-Braves. It's more pro-Phillies. What do you guys think?
I'm actually right there with you. I mean, the Braves have a chance, the Phillies have a chance, and I think those are the only two teams that are honestly going to be dancing here for the NL East this year. I mean, maybe the Nationals make just some surprise move, or not surprise move, but surprise run. Highly doubt that. The Mets have started to look better, but when it comes to the Phillies and you look at what they've done over the last 2 years, how they've kind of gotten hot later into the season, and now here they are. They started out a little slow in their opening series, but then that daggum rotation up top might be one of the best. When you're talking about just the three pitchers, it might be the best in Wheeler, Nola, and Suarez. The bullpen has started to look good. Yeah, they gave up the game Sunday to break their winning streak to the Marlins, but that went to extras, and they had to battle back, the Phillies did, to tie it at 6 there with the Marlins. So for me, I have no issue with anyone saying that the Phillies are the team to beat in the National League East, and maybe for the actual Braves players, forget the fans in this situation, you know what I mean, but for the Braves players, maybe they need to look at it like that, like they're chasing the Phillies so that they can get somewhat of a chip on their shoulder, because they keep on getting injury after injury, and it's hard to sustain those injuries in the game of baseball when you've got a farm league like the Braves have, which is depleted essentially out of Hurst and Waldrop.
Yeah, I love how you said, I love both of what you guys said. And Cole, you're not really dividing anyone too, because the normal guy who runs the sticks or the studio is a Phillies guy, and David, who's on with us, is a Braves guy. So they're always debating it.
Yeah.
He's always like, oh, yeah, we'll see you in October, man.
Yeah, he don't care about what happens in the regular season, which, hey, I don't blame him.
Yeah, at the bank, I mean. But, yeah, I mean, I've kind of shifted on that, too. I think you can't rule out losing Spencer Strider. That's your ace right there. And if Acuna keeps slumping, it's going to be bad. I mean, obviously that's a cold take, but the Braves bullpen has been decent, and I love how our standard for the Mets too is like, you're like, oh, the Mets have looked better as of late. As last night they blew it at Luis Diaz.
Oh, did they lose last night?
Yep. And then today they already lost. Nola threw a complete game shutout on them. So the Mets are still the Mets.
Nola threw a complete game shutout and they lost?
No, the Mets lost.
Oh,
we're talking about the Mets still.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm on a different
Nola,
wavelength.
108 pitches, 9 innings, 4 hits, I believe. So the Mets are still the Mets. I'm wondering.
It was extras, though, last night for them, right?
Yeah, they blew it, though, in the 9th, and then they lost in the 10th.
Well, hey, it was a lot better than what it started out as this season.
Giving them that White Sox bar.
Oh, man.
But I'm curious, where do you guys think Pete Alonso gets traded to? Because I really think he gets traded at the deadline. I don't think if they're in the hunt, they'll keep him. It doesn't make any sense. But it's the Mets, so I don't know.
Ooh, Cole, go ahead and lead off here.
I don't know. I don't really. It would probably, is he playing first base right now? It'd probably have to be someone missing either a first base or a DH. Maybe someone like, not Milwaukee. Dodgers don't need anyone.
Dodgers don't need nothing, but they'll still get something.
I wish the worst upon the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And all California sports.
Who do the Padres have playing at first base right now? There's a couple of teams.
Cronenworth.
Okay, Cronenworth. I'm not.
But they could move Cronenworth off that because he can play anywhere.
Yeah. And then also, I mean, the Astros haven't been extremely happy with Abreu.
No, his goose might be cooked.
Yeah. Could you see the Astros making a move for Pete Alonso? That would make them dangerous again.
How far in? If you're the Astros, do you click the panic button?
I think it's already been pressed.
It's activated. Yeah. It's so weird because we're so used to seeing the Astros being good now for the past 10 years. By the way, bring back the Astrodome. I want that center field raised hill.
Did they have that at Minute Maid?
No, I thought it was the Astros. Did they take it?
Yeah,
it was at
Minute
Maid
for a little bit at Minute Maid.
Yeah.
And then someone tore their ACL and had to ruin it.
And they had the pole in the middle of the hill up there.
It was awesome.
Yeah. Bring back obstacles on the field for the players. There you go.
I mean, they're a game and a half above the Angels, so without Trout. So, yeah, I guess you're right, Cole. I think it has been pressed. If you're behind the Oakland A's, that's tough.
Yeah, but how many games back are they?
6.5.
6.5, though. That's
in a good division, though.
In a good division with teams that you can't really trust, though. Right? Yeah. Can you trust the Mariners yet?
They have good enough arms. I mean, Logan Gilbert had his first bad start.
If you kind of trust somebody, there's not a real trust there. Right? The Oakland A's are looking a little bit better.
The World Series champs. Like Corey Seager's had some of the worst luck in baseball, and he's still hitting well.
And the Rangers are going to get better as the season goes on.
Yeah.
Getting some of their arms back. So I would trust the Rangers more so than I would. But I don't know. I'm with you on the Mariners that I really like what they've got.
They're kind of Brewers. They're just kind of gnats. Like, I don't know. They don't win big and they don't lose big.
But let's say that the Astros hit a 10-game winning streak, and in that same span, the Rangers and the Mariners go 4-6. So that gains them 4 games right there. It's just too early for me. And I agree with Cole. They might have already pressed the panic button. But it's too early for me to count those guys out because we're talking about the first half of the season. If we're sitting here after the All-Star break and they're still, bottom of the barrel in the American League West, then I'm right there with you. And then there's the other thing, right? This is the first year seeing these guys under, what's the coach's name, Espada. So, it's not Dusty Baker's show over there. So maybe, they're going through some growing pains, but I'm still not going to be. It's just like the Kansas City Chiefs. Everyone was counting them out around week 11 of the season last year. I can't do that yet, man. It's just too early for me.
The thing with them, though, too, is their rotation is so wonky because you have to really, right now he's been awesome and can't take it away from him, but Ronel Blanco has been their best pitcher. Hunter Brown stinks. He was so overrated coming up. I don't know how he ever got a chance to start.
Don't you hate that? With players that
Cole's a big prospects don't matter guy, and that's a perfect prospects don't matter guy because he wasn't that dominant in the minors. Everyone's like, oh, he's got A++ stuff, and it's like, nice, enjoy that 7 ERA that he's got. It's almost an 8 ERA.
Dude, I'm right there with Cole though. Until prospects start doing something at the major league level, I don't buy into it. Even with Paul Skeens, we've seen a good chunk from him, or we've seen a good outing from him. We've seen a lot of great stuff at the collegiate level. We saw him dominate at AAA. But how will you do? What's the name of the game in Major League Baseball to have a long, illustrious career? Consistency. So you can be a flash in the pan, and that's still not going to pan out to a great career. So Cole, what's your thoughts on Paul Skeens?
I didn't get to watch his start on Saturday, but I think he's going to be good. If he can stay healthy, if you just look at his velo, it's insane. Yeah. I don't know how hitters are going to catch up to what he's throwing.
Yeah,
the Pirates are so lame for calling him up to face us and then face us again on Friday.
Ooh, so
that'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's at Wrigley, right?
Yes, it is. Hopefully. Hey, that's the time I wish I was in Chicago. I'd love to run into Livy out there.
Hey, there you go.
Catch up.
Catch up.
Just kidding, Vicky. Just kidding.
But yeah, I think when you're talking about the Astros, everyone likes to talk about their lineup, but over the past 8 years of their, I guess, quote unquote dynasty, it's been the pitching that's been the consistency, and this year it just feels different.
Yeah, that's fair.
Would you agree?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think I think, top to bottom, they're just deeper. And, I mean, if Bohm and Stott and everyone are hitting, they're in good shape. But we got to run to a break. Thanks for coming on, Cole, on short notice, too. We've really just kind of put together some segments today. And
I think we can ask him one last question, though.
Okay. It's Dave's show, so I can't.
Cole, why is it that the Cardinals are having such a hard time this year? Why? I guess to put it in layman's term, why do the Cardinals suck this year?
I did not tee him up to say that, too.
That's a mean question.
I did not. I just told him you're from St. Louis. That is all him. He's just laughing, looking at me.
You know what? It's funny. This year has actually been more understandable. Like last year was a surprise. This year I kind of expected it. And it's the offense. We just don't score runs. You're not going to win games if you don't score runs. Goldschmidt's horrible. A lot of our prospects like Dylan Carlson and Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman were supposed to be, producing at a high level this year, and some of them are in AAA, some of them are hurt. It's just bad. We're minus 46, so it's only May 14th, or minus 46 run differential. It's not going to cut it.
Yeah, that's hard, especially as a Cardinals fan. It's like one of those where it's like being a Braves fan. You've gotten so used to success for a long time, and then you have those 1 or 2 seasons, and you're like, what in the world is going on? But I guess you can always look back to the past for a little bit, perk up a little bit, and then kind of move on. But Cole, man, it was great to have you on with us. Let's get you back here in the future when we have Max in the building, or even if Max isn't in the building, you're always welcome to get on the line with us, man.
For sure, I'd love to do it. It was fun.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Cole, and we appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. Well, you're listening to the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, ESPN Northwest Florida. We got you covered. Go watch Arnold Marlins tonight, 7 p.m.
ESPN Northwest Florida is celebrating our 7-year anniversary on June 26th.
Gotta be a curtain call right here.
You made us the #1 destination on the Panhandle for live and local sports talk, high school, college football, the NFL, and the Atlanta Braves.
Way on back it goes. That's torched.
And to thank you for helping us reach this milestone, we're giving away more tickets to the Atlanta Braves this season than ever before. Keep listening for details from ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. For tonight, some clouds and very light showers and a low of 76 with a gentle breeze out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunshine with temps around 81. In the afternoon and evening, sunny with a moderate breeze and a temperature near 81. Moving into Thursday, about the same with a high of 84 and mostly sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Discover the new Kia at Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all adventures and endless possibilities. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 1.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sorento or a new 2024 Kia Sportage. You'll get the perfect balance of comfort, safety, and technology. Bill Bird Kia is the home of the 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Now, enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a brand new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2024 Kia Sorento or new 2024 Kia Sportage with $2,165 per month for $1,000 financed in 48 months. Quantities limited. No down payment required. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7/8/24.
WPLQ Port St. Joe, WGSX Lynn Haven, powered by Panama City Toyota.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
The battle for a 7th straight division crown starts right now. And the East already knows, don't sleep on the Atlanta Braves.
Swung on, belted, deep right field, gone! Home run, Michael Harris.
Tonight, Truist Park comes alive for Atlanta Braves baseball as Matt Olson and the Braves take on Dansby Swanson and the Chicago Cubs.
Coverage starts tonight at 6 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN Northwest Florida.
He listens listens to Post Malone. He drives a Honda with ground effects and has Pennsylvania tattooed on his right tricep.
You're looking at a bad man.
David Hayes is part of the Afternoon Underdogs. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we're back with some Morgan Wallen and Posty. I'm hosting today, actually, for the Afternoon Underdogs alongside David Hayes. Feels nice to not be a passenger princess
I had
today.
some help today.
I had some help. But we've got another guest on. Alma mater is Alabama, so a team that a lot of people down here root for, along with the Noles and the Dogs. His name is Thomas, and he actually works along with the MLB. So we wanted to ask him some baseball questions, since Dave and I obviously are very passionate about baseball. Maybe a couple questions about the Tide and his expectations too. I'm sure a lot of people listening right now driving home would love to hear what a guy who has lived through the glory days of Saban, has to say about this year's Tide team, and honestly the Hoops team too. Oates has the boys buzzing. So
yeah,
Thomas, welcome on. How are you doing?
Thank you, Max. I appreciate the wonderful introduction there. Happy to join, talk to Tide, talk a little baseball, or anything you might want to talk about.
Sounds good. And Thomas is from Missouri originally, so he is a Cardinals fan. I'm obviously a Cubs fan, and so we kind of have a good split here. We don't have our main guy running the sticks, who is a Phillies fan, and David, who's on with us right now, who hosts the show, he's actually a Braves fan. So we have a nice little dynamic going. I wish we had the Phillies guy too, just so we could have all the rivalries going on at once. But
it's kind of nice because throughout like our cast of players here on the Afternoon Underdogs, I mean, you got Red Sox, you got Reds, you got Braves, you got Phillies, Max, you got the Cubbies. I mean, we've got a nice diverse portfolio of Major League Baseball teams here.
We do. And we just had Cole on, actually, who Thomas knows. Cole was talking about how prospects do not matter, Thomas. Some things never change. But, yeah, let's start it off. We just talked about the NL East. We'd love to hear your thoughts on that, too. I'd love to hear what you think about the NL Central this year, and what your expectations are, and if you think, your Cards can make a run, and who else to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely, been a very disappointing start to the year for the Cardinals. Had some concerns about the starting pitching, and, those old starting pitchers that we signed in the offseason that everyone was kind of panning, they've mostly been fine so far, like sub-4 ERAs, I think, for all of them. But it turns out all of our bats have forgotten to hit in the offseason. So, I think we only have, like, one guy with an OPS above 750, and he is now hurt. So, yeah, it's been a tough year for the Cardinals, and unfortunately Max's Cubs have at least looked pretty good. So I would say they're sadly the favorites in this dismal division of the NL Central, but
it is dismal.
Should be a fun rest of the season, and I'm hoping that the Cardinals just scoring 8 runs in the 7th inning last night can provide some sort of spark to at least make the season not miserable, but who knows.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point about this being a dismal division too. I mean, I kind of think of the Cubs as like the Orlando Magic, where it's like, could make the playoffs, not really a threat to anyone or anything, but you never know once you get there. So
we might have to get back to our Premier League SEC comparison.
Oh, yeah, Thomas might like that too.
Yeah.
Thomas, we've been doing a once a week segment where it started last week, actually.
Yeah, we got one team.
Where David names one Premier League team, and we
give an SEC comparison.
SEC football comparison.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or basketball if you're feeling very niche.
Ooh, yeah.
Dave, who's your team this week? Maybe Thomas can.
Who did I go
chime
with
in.
last week? Liverpool, I think. Is Crystal Palace in the English Premier League?
Crystal Palace is in the Premier League.
So let's go with Crystal Palace. Because so Thomas, a little backstory here. I really I know about Chelsea, Manchester United, Man City. Some of the premier teams or whatever. But I still wouldn't be able to give great comparison teams. So it's kind of like a segment for me to learn a little bit more about what's going on over there in the EPO.
Yeah.
Thomas, you can go first if you want, or I can go.
Yeah, give me an SEC comp for Crystal Palace, and then if you're feeling froggy, let's go with an NBA team too.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So I don't think I know, quite as much about the EPL as Max does. So it sounds like I'm a little bit more on your level there, but I think, we definitely got to start talking with the lower half of the league, of course, because, like you were saying, they're not the Liverpools, the Man City, Man United, or anything like that. So my mind kind of goes to Vanderbilt. I don't know if that's too insulting to Crystal Palace, but it does kind of seem like they're never really a threat to win the EPL. And, Vanderbilt's kind of just, for me, when I think of lower tier SEC teams, that's kind of just immediately where my mind jumps to.
Yeah. No, that's not terrible. Vanderbilt, honestly, would be like my Burnley, because they're like always on the verge of deserving to be relegated. And Crystal Palace has been. They're actually right now, I think, in 12th place. So I guess current state of the union for Crystal Palace, I'm going to put them over with Mississippi State football.
Okay. So
post-Leach era.
Oh, post-Leach.
No air raid. Just a very boring brand of soccer, football, if per se.
Yeah, football.
But that would be my go-to.
Yeah, no, that sounds reasonable. And when you were talking about Burnley being, potentially being relegated, I wouldn't mind seeing Vanderbilt relegated from the SEC.
Leanne just said, she just texted and she said, Max, what?
I'm so sorry, Leanne. Leanne, I apologize.
You just lost yourself a Linden.
I'll ring the bell. I'll ring the bell.
There we go, man. We'll find
I can never say anything bad about Leanne's teams. I apologize, Leanne.
And we can't forget about Leanne's team in Major League Baseball. She's an Orioles fan through the thick and the thin.
That's a fun team to be rooting for right now. I'm envious of that. And then for NBA, I'm going to say they're the Brooklyn Nets.
Ooh.
Just there.
So Brooklyn Nets, Crystal Palace, they have Mississippi State. That's a nice salad there.
Yeah, it is. That is a nice salad. Thomas, I'd love to know too, pivoting a little here, what are your thoughts on Bama football this year? What's your expectation for them, and who's going to be starting at quarterback? And what do you see as their biggest weakness this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am pretty optimistic about the Kalen DeBoer era. Of course, with Nick Saban, it's always a question of, for the regular season, basically, will we have 0 losses or 1 loss? And basically, I'm going to kind of bump that by 1. So, going forward, I'm expecting, 1 to 2 losses per year for the immediate future. But the nice thing about this expanded playoff is that in the SEC, if you have 2 losses, you're probably still going to be a playoff team. So it is kind of nice with that, even though my expectations are a little bit lower. I do kind of think that we'll still be living in that top 10 and doing pretty well, at least for the next few years. Like, of course, we lost a few big transfers, Caleb Downs, Julian Sain, things like that. But it is pretty nice to be able to, retain most of the roster. DeBoer did a good job bringing some guys back in through the transfer portal and, through the recruiting class as well. So my expectations are pretty high. As far as quarterback goes, I think Milroe's got to be in the driver's seat there. I don't think it's a sure thing because, athletically, he's probably the best athlete at the position in college football, but frankly, he just was not that good as a passer last year. But if there is anyone that can kind of, mold him into a good passer, I think DeBoer is as good of an option for that as anyone. Kind of just seeing what he did with Michael Penix out there in Washington. So I think he's the most likely candidate, but keep an eye out for Austin Mack, who came over with DeBoer from from Washington. Fairly highly touted recruit, but just kind of the way that some people talk about him, I think he's someone that could be a contender long-term for the spot.
How much do you expect the offense to change? Do you think that the tempo is going to go way up here, and do we think that we'll lose anything on the defensive side of the ball? Kind of going back through the later years of the Saban era where it was kind of like defense is up one year and then defense is down the next year. Well, defense was up last year. Do you think that the defense is going to suffer for that this year, losing some of the guys like they did to the NFL? And then you mentioned Caleb Downs, who was huge last year for the Tide, and now he's going to be over there with Julian Sain at Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think even just some of the reports we've been hearing from spring ball, that the pace is definitely going to be kind of vamped up from what it has been in the Saban era, which, I think it is a good thing. I think basically, kind of like you were saying, I do expect the offense to not really miss a beat, even maybe be a little bit better, but kind of losing, multiple cornerbacks going in the early rounds in the NFL and losing Downs to Ohio State. I think it's hard to say that the defense is going to be quite as good as it was last year. But I do think, we have enough talent that it should be at least good enough that with that offense, we should still be in pretty good shape for 2024.
Yeah. A really tough thing, too, for DeBoer this year. I was trying to think of, jobs this big that have opened up in the past. And something that I think of which obviously it's almost 2 decades ago now, which makes me feel old, is Urban going over to Florida.
Yeah.
But the thing with this is with NIL money, you have a way quicker time where you can regenerate a program and rebuild or, get the pieces you want. Not saying, Saban left Alabama in shambles by any means, but that's just huge shoes to fill for anyone. He was the best coach in college football, and he is the best coach ever. So it's a high-pressure job, but I'm curious, what's your expectation for that Georgia game? Do you like, optimistically, I guess with your heart versus with your brain, what do you think is going to happen in that game? I know it's way too early to tell, and we're really jumping the gun there, but that's a really hard first SEC game to swallow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. Max, can you remind me, is that in Tuscaloosa?
It is in Tuscaloosa, under the lights, I think.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's got to be, right?
I think that it's one of those games where, whoever's the home team's going to be in slightly better shape there. So I know it's kind of a cop-out here to just say that, but I do think both teams are going to be pretty good. Obviously, both lose a lot of talent, but, I'll give my edge to the Tide. Just a little bit of homer pick there going along with that home field advantage. But, yeah, I would be lying if I said I had a super strong read on that game as of now.
Yeah, no, I'd be curious to see what the spread is. Obviously closer to, maybe we can have you back on to discuss that game and some of the hype for that, because our other co-host who wasn't able to make it today is a huge Dogs fan. And
yeah.
What I really appreciate about him is he's a very realistic Dogs fan. He's not like, we're the next Bama, blah, blah, blah. Like he has very even-keeled takes about the Dogs. And I think, he spoke the truth about Georgia football this year.
At least in front of a microphone.
At least in front of a microphone, right. Yeah. His persona. But yeah, Dave, you have any other Tide questions or Tide Hoops questions before we go back to baseball or football?
What is the outlook? After, getting to the Final Four for the Tide last year, Nate Oates, as Max mentioned, had them boys buzzing last year. So how do you build upon a season like that if you're Nate Oates?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be honest with you, my expectations for basketball are even higher than they are for football. Mark Sears' status still kind of up in the air right now. I know he's entered his name into the draft, but he's able to, withdraw that potentially. But if he comes back, I've seen Alabama as high as preseason number 1 for basketball. Of course, we did lose some talent, but bringing back Grant Nelson, we have the number 1 rim protector in the transfer portal coming in. Bring back Latrell Wrightsall on the wing, a few other big wings, including a transfer from South Florida, Youngblood, the transfer from Auburn, which, I don't know if he's going to be that great, but he was a 5-star in 2023, and just stealing a recruit from Auburn, it doesn't get much better than that. So I think just kind of the depth that we have, honestly, at every position. If you would have talked to me a month ago, I would have said, if Sears leaves, we don't really have a point guard. We also don't have a rim protector. And then we go out and add the top rim protector, maybe one of the top defensive bigs in the country. And then we also get that transfer point guard from Auburn, as well as, a top 30 recruited point guard in the class. So for me, I am as excited about this Alabama basketball season as I ever have been.
Now, is that something normal for you where basketball's maybe not expectation-wise, but let's just say you're paying attention to, do you pay a little bit more attention to basketball than you do football?
No, I would say I probably pay attention more to football, but I would say that, I guess, relative to your average Alabama fan, I probably care about basketball a little bit more. I guess it's at least a little bit closer for me than it would be for most people.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about that game? I know, so if you've been following them for a while, I thought that they had no shot really against North Carolina unless they just had one of those games. And I think it helped that RJ Davis wasn't at 110%, if you will. But how was that? Kind of describe that feeling, your reaction to the Tide taking down North Carolina, a legitimate blue blood in college basketball.
Yeah, that was a pretty unbelievable game. I think Max can probably pull up some text receipts from that day where I basically had that same opinion where I was like, yeah, I don't think we have much of a chance here. But I think to Max's credit, he actually thought that we had a better chance. And then I remember kind of just after that game, just saying how happy I was because I was shocked that we were even in that spot. But,
he was very happy.
Yeah, once we kind of got to the Elite Eight, we're playing Clemson and we were the favorites. I was like, okay, now I actually expect us to get to the Final Four. But yeah, it's just as an Alabama fan, when I was at Alabama, we didn't make the tournament any of the 4 years. So now kind of going in with, the possibility of being preseason number 1 or, even if Sears isn't back, at worst case, top 10, it's a pretty cool feeling for sure.
Absolutely. You want to bounce back over to some Major League Baseball here?
Yeah, if we don't have to cut to.
Yeah, we can go a little bit over here.
It's your
We got
show.
2 minutes. Yeah, there you go. Let's go to the Cincinnati Reds. I mean, they've got so many pieces, but specifically the training staff, it seems like what I hear from the Cincinnati Reds fans all the time, that they've just got a garbage training staff. They bring someone, someone hits the IL, they get off the IL, and they go right back to the IL. Is that a legitimate gripe? Or is there something bigger at play here for the Cincinnati Reds?
I mean, I think that's kind of a hollow thing. I mean, work harder in the offseason and get more muscular and, take care of your body. I think baseball players probably do the worst out of the core four sports and in terms of recovery and preparation. I don't know. Thomas being closer to baseball and what he sees, I don't know. Thomas might be able to give a better opinion than that.
That's what the question was for.
Yeah, well, I apologize. Sorry to jump the gun on you, Thomas. I just hate that. I just hate that stuff. Like the Mets too. Like Frank the Tank always comes out. I mean, it's Frank the Tank, but he goes after like the injury, the training. Yeah. They're so feeble. But like honestly, at some point you got to point a finger at the players too for not being prepared. And I'd love to hear what you have to say, Thomas. And I'm sorry if I jumped you on that, since Dave wants to talk to you more than me.
No, yeah, you're totally good, Max. I think I would pretty much echo what you were saying there, whereas, I can't speak to the trainer specifically, but I think in general, you kind of got to point to the players' preparation there. And then a lot of it, of course, is just kind of bad luck. Like, it seems like kind of just everyone across Major League Baseball, in particular, the pitchers, which I know, the Reds, I guess infield has kind of gone through some injuries there, but I think it's just, it seems like everyone's getting injured right now. So, of course, like if you're a Reds fan, you're probably going to see your own team's injuries a little bit more, and of course, find some sort of a finger to blame. But in general, I think it's more just bad luck and player preparation.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, some things are preventable, and I think there's some frustration that Marte took PEDs, but everyone's had injuries. I'm not making excuses for any teams. There's been injuries with everyone. I mean, the Phillies are going through it right now. Granted, their lineup is just grossly deep. The Cubs were without their two best hitters, Bellinger and Suzuki, for 20-plus days. Steele was out for a month, who's supposed to be our ace. Shota might be. Speaking of, I'd be curious to know right now who your picks, or I guess who you think it's going to be as far as MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Cy Young. We might need to trail it over to the next segment if we get to commercial, but now Dave's green light.
Yeah, green light, brother. Go.
No ads. Just kidding. Just kidding. We love our advertisers.
We just had a call in, and they were wondering about the Arnold game. So, again, for our listeners, the Arnold game tonight, Public Sports Park, Field 2, 7 p.m., South Walton, Arnold. A trip to the Final Four on the line tonight. So make sure you go out there. If you ain't got nothing going on tonight on this beautiful Tuesday evening, go out there and support the Arnold Marlins. And, Bozeman, they're going to be playing tomorrow night. They're already in the Final Four.
And I mean, Cooper Moss, he's 16, 17-year-old. How many juniors in high school do you see throwing 95, 96?
And not just that, though. So he is committed to Florida, and the kid is dangerous with a bat as well. There's been multiple times here in this postseason that they've been down a run or two, and then all of a sudden a tying home run or a go-ahead home run, and then he gets on the mound to close it out as well. So something special is happening over there with the Arnold Marlins, and you can go witness it because this is really your final opportunity tonight to go witness that.
Cooper Ohtani.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, Thomas, what you got right now as far as not maybe odds, or I guess if you were a betting man, I know you are, in your respective state. Who would be your MVP, Rookie of the Year, Cy, and then give us your early World Series prediction with the winner.
I like it.
All right, yeah, absolutely. So we'll start with the MVP here.
And Dave and I will chime in too. We can go around the room.
Yeah, in the AL, I know that my man Max is a big fan of this guy, but I'm going to go Kyle Tucker with the Astros. I know that the team itself hasn't been off to that great of a start, but I think Kyle Tucker has been off to an unbelievable start. And in general, I'd say is one of the more underrated players in baseball.
Thomas, real quick, because we were talking about this in the previous segment with Cole, do you think that the Astros can turn it around and maybe get into the playoffs? We won't even talk about winning the American League West, but do you think that there's still time in the season? Not that there's still time, because of course there's still time. Do you believe in the Astros' ability to turn it around?
And are they or are they not pressing the panic button yet?
I believe that they are pressing the panic button, but I think that they're more than talented enough to turn it around. I think that, their issues, obviously, pitching-wise, they haven't been exactly where they wanted to be, but, they've been dealing with some injuries. So I think that just really realistically, just kind of having more luck on their side the rest of the way, I think that they're still going to make the playoffs, if I had to guess.
Really? Okay.
I'm right on par with Thomas there, man. I can't stomach counting them out, and I don't like them. Most baseball fans don't. But
I don't. I am a big Astros believer, but I don't know. I think the Mariners might take on that Brewers persona and just be Nats, just not score a lot, but have good arms. Probably add some depth, maybe another bat. Maybe that's a good spot for Pete Alonso.
The Mariners?
Yeah. Who's playing first right now in Seattle? Thomas, do you know?
Is it? It's not France still, is it?
That's exactly who I was thinking.
I was thinking, though, they could use a power bat, and Alonso might be a move. Because we were thinking if the Mets...
I think it is Ty France still.
Yeah, he's got it. This is a guy who is associated with MLB on the line here, folks.
Yes, sir. That's so Ty France over there. Who would you rather have, Ty France or Pete Alonso?
Pete Alonso. But maybe not Pete Alonso's glove, so maybe he can DH and Mitch Garver can... I guess Mitch Garver, you got to use the bat.
Yeah.
Got big dumpy rally behind home plate.
Yeah. I think he went deep last night too.
Yeah, but Thomas, that was another thing. Now we're deviating off of the MVP, but there's so much to talk about with baseball right now. Where would you guess Alonso could move to? Just we were thinking the Mets are probably a trade deadline seller.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know if the Astros are going to be still in it to where they're buying, but if the corpse of Jose Abreu over there, that could be a good fit as well.
Jose Abreu's getting shredded earlier. We were talking about him too, and I said the fossil of him, and you're saying the corpse of him.
We both agree there's not much left there.
Yeah, that's where I had him going though. Was to the Stros.
That's right. Yeah, you and Thomas, the Bama minds aligned.
There we go, man. Roll Tide, brother. Roll Tide.
Don't get pissed about nothing but the Tide.
Oh man.
But yeah, my MVP, I'm gonna go chalk. I think Soto. I think Soto's gonna keep mashing. He doesn't steal though, and that's something where Witt or Tucker could get him. But in terms of just like sheer talent right now, Soto is probably seeing the ball better than anyone. I don't know if there's. You could make the argument for like Ozuna and stuff, but does that fizzle out versus Soto? Probably.
Yeah. And you can't say it's Acuna because he's double, back to, well, he's just right back to
Mr.
striking out at the same rate. 3 times in 2 games. Hadn't been picked off at all prior to that game against the Mets, and then Shota gets him last night. But I'm going to stick right there with you because that's who I had as my preseason MVP. We were picking them live here on the air. It was a Tuesday when you were on, and I was kind of just looking through the odds, and something was like maybe Juan Soto playing for that contract over there. Is he gonna stick around with the Yankees? I think the Yankees would be absolute fools to get rid of him. So I'm gonna stick with my preseason pick there, which will probably be one of the rare times that I stick with a preseason pick.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
What about in the NL? Who you got, Thomas?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be one of the Dodgers. So Ohtani's having the best hitting year of anyone so far, probably, but. I don't know. I'm guessing that there has not ever been a DH who's won the MVP. Since he's
David Ortiz, maybe
not pitching. Did he win one? I don't know. Yeah, that could be. If there was one, it's probably him. I don't think like Edgar Martinez ever would have. But I don't know. It's hard to argue with how good Ohtani's been at the plate. Just having even more time to focus on that, and then of course Mookie Betts switching positions and being one of the best hitters in the league this year. Again, going real chalky there with one of those Dodgers.
Yeah, I like that for the answer, right? One of those Dodgers. In 2021, Shohei was the, primarily designated hitter. But I think, at least my feeling is that his pitching prowess had something to do with those votes for the baseball writers. Now, they might not have done that, but yeah, I'm right there with you, Thomas. I think that it could be Mookie, Freddie, or Shohei. They're hard to contain, man. And as the year goes on, they're just going to get daggone better, and it's going to make me more mad.
Yeah, and that's like in 21, Ohtani still had a 3.1 ERA as a pitcher, so primarily as a DH is like, come on. But, maybe there'll be some voter fatigue, and Ohtani doesn't get it, but I think that's
new
still
league,
my pick, which I hate that it's new league, but I hate that I'm going with the chalk. He's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
A ridiculous baseball player. Moving on to Rookie of the Year. This was my preseason pick, and I know I said at risk of sounding like a homer, it was Imanaga just because he has the stuff. And as of right now, that's looking really good. And partially, too, because Churio is my second pick, and he's been terrible. So I'm not gassing myself up too much there. But, Thomas, who do you have winning Rookie of the Year right now in the NL?
Yeah, unfortunately, as a Cardinals fan, I'm going to have to agree with Max that Imanaga is probably the guy. I remember telling him maybe November or December that I wanted the Cardinals to sign him. And I remember Max being like, okay, give me the scouting report on this guy. And, even I did not think he would be nearly as good as he has been. But just like the control that he has and just the run prevention that he's been able to deliver. I know yesterday he might not have had his ace stuff. And, I think it was 10 base runners in 5 innings. But just the fact that he was able to kind of contain those, not allow any runs, is pretty crazy. So as much as I would like to say Mason Wynn, who, by the way, leads the NL in defensive WAR, which I know Max does not care about, as much as I'd like to say him, I do not think I can even remotely try to justify that.
But what's Mason Wynn's DRS?
I can't tell you off the top of my head, but hey, great defender, even if the bat might not be there yet.
Mason Wynn was actually my preseason pick for National League Rookie of the Year. This is going to be one that I'm going to change, and I'm going to go with Shota Imanaga. Like you guys just mentioned, just last night, that was his first loss of the. Wait, was he
didn't lose? Yeah, 0-0.
Yeah, so he didn't. It still hasn't suffered a loss yet. Which wins losses for a pitcher. I don't think that's if it is weighted heavily by the baseball writers, it shouldn't be. Yeah. What do you got?
I thought you were gonna use win-loss as a knock against him. I was about to punch through that glass door on you.
No, it shouldn't be thought of at all. And for me, beyond what he's just doing on the mound is the presence that he's bringing to Chicago and just the way that he's interacting with the fans, which doesn't, that's not anything to win you Rookie of the Year, but when your play is backing up, the way that you're acting, I'm loving what he's bringing over there to it. And then second in odds right now is Yamamoto. And
he's underwhelmed a little though, right?
Well, I think that was the start, and then he's kind of bounced back. But I would still if you gave me the options of Yoshi versus Shota, I'm going to roll with Shota. I'd rather have Shota in my rotation.
Yeah, good value play too.
Yes, sir.
Mason Wynn's DRS is 8, so pretty good. Pretty good.
I really don't.
Max can chirp me about Mason Wynn's bat, but he's not going to chirp me about his defense. So that's at least a win for me there.
There you go. Get
that's
that
true.
Netflix
He's just a worse Addison Russell.
Nextel, not Netflix.
I thought I'd get Thomas to bite on that. He is just a worse Addison Russell.
Oh wow.
He's got a stronger arm, just doesn't have the range.
Doesn't have the right. We're not going to start.
Hey, Taylor says WDE or damn Eagle, Thomas.
Oh no, is that the Taylor? I think?
Yeah, it's got to be.
We saw the Facebook feed was up, and we were just talking about who was it? KD moving over to?
Yeah, Kalen DeBoer. Yeah.
No. Oh, wasn't it KD Johnson who went to Bama for hoops?
Did Kate?
Aiden Holloway.
Or not Aiden? Aiden Holloway, not KD. Sorry. That's how much.
KD kind of looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Anyways, what's the outlook for the Tigers? I know that I'm taking us way off track here. We're we're like 10 minutes over this segment time limit. But the outlook for Auburn, do you think that Hugh Freeze's second year here, they're going to be a better team? How many wins are you seeing for the Tigers this year?
I've got my.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do think Hugh Freeze is a pretty good coach, even though he's not a pretty good guy. But yeah, I'll say they'll go, 7-5, 8-4, something like that.
That's funny. I was going to say 8-4.
8-4 sounds like a good number for. I think that's a number that keeps him hanging around for a little bit longer. I think until he gets his quarterback in place over there. I don't think Peyton Thorne is a real Hugh Freeze guy.
No, he was terrible in the Big Ten. And
yeah,
he hasn't looked good in the SEC.
Why are you going to Michigan State for your quarterbacks?
Yeah, there's got to be someone better. Thorne is like a good high school quarterback because he can run decently, but in the SEC, running decently can only get you so far. Especially if you're paying Thorne, you're not Jalen Milroe. So. Just gonna say that.
All right. So what's our next award for Major League Baseball? We got about 3 minutes.
AL
left
Rookie of the Year.
All right. AL Rookie of the Year. What you got, Thomas?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this is something where, in the NL, you've got those three pitchers who are having those unbelievable years with Imanaga, Yamamoto, and Jared Jones of the Pirates. But no one quite lighting the world on fire as much in the AL. I think Colton Cowser is probably going to be your betting favorite, off to a pretty good start. But I'll throw in a name that's not too talked about nationally. I'll go Wilyer Abreu of the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's wasn't a huge prospect, but all he's really done since he came up late last year is just hit the baseball. I'm sure his OPS, probably in the high 800s right now, and not a ton of power, but just kind of getting the job done there in Fenway.
What about for you, Max?
Well, I'm pretty sure I said Holiday preseason, and with my number 2 is Cowser. I've always been a decent Cowser guy, so I'm just going to stick with that, even though that is definitely the betting favorite, so it's kind of a cop-out. But like Thomas said, the AL is really a crapshoot, so anyone could really get that award.
Do we have any belief? My preseason pick for this was Evan Carter. That's
isn't bad. No, that's second in odds, probably.
He's starting to work his way back up. He's actually, according to Fox right here, Evan Carter's 3, Colton Cowser's 2. One is, I was surprised not to hear this name. How about Mason Miller, the A's closer right now? I mean,
is Wilyer 4th then, or
Wilyer
5th?
is 4.
Okay.
But again, this is, this site's odds. The odds are going to be different everywhere that you go.
That's pretty cool. I mean, I wonder if does he still get the award when he's a Chicago Cub at the deadline?
You think Mason Miller is going to? I mean,
I think someone's going to pay the price because relievers are at such a premium right now. Like, I feel like there's only a few teams where you really trust their bullpen, and I mean, why would the A's hold on? Like, you're just wasting.
Yeah.
Well, they'd hold on to him because he's still technically a rookie, and he's all I know that you don't build around a bullpen, but for me, it's you got to keep him there, hope that you can compete for a few years at least while he's still in his arbitration window. I think that would be, anyone else, absolutely, see you later. But he's the one guy who I think that unless you're, a big overpay, you got to hold on to.
What does he have? 4 years left?
I think more than that. I mean, what's the normal arbitration pre-arb stuff?
I think
usually
6.
teams have 6-7 years of control. Yeah.
And he came up last year.
Yeah, so I don't think he'd be a free agent until 2029 or something like that.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you because Spotrac is premium now.
Oh no! I hate when sites do that, especially when you've gotten so used to using it for a long time. Then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, if you'd like to use this again, it'll be $29.99 for the rest of the year."
yeah. As much as I want to pay $30 to learn about Mason Miller's contract history, can't they just monetize that on ads? Thomas, working alongside the MLB, do you get any perks like that where you get MLB TV or Spotrac or any of those for premium, like the Ken Palm-esque places of the world?
Yeah, no, not Spotrac, but MLB TV, being able to get that for free is pretty nice.
Nice. Oh, he's ARB through 26 and under club control through 29. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, if you have him for 6 more full seasons, I don't really know why you'd be trading that guy, but who knows?
All right, since we're running out of time here, Max, if this is cool, how about the World Series prediction?
Yeah. Go ahead, Thomas.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies over the New York Yankees.
I hate that as a Braves fan, but I love that as a baseball fan. I think that would be a really good series, and I think it's time for the Yankees to get back into the mix of things because, just like how we hate the Astros, I can hate the Yankees all day long, but when the Yankees and the Red Sox are playing, specifically the Yankees are playing better baseball, I think baseball is in a better place because of it. So I love that Phillies-Yankees take there. I think it would be a fun World Series. I would love to see your Cubbies there too, but more than that, I would love to see the Braves and the Orioles. That's the World Series I would like to see.
That'd be pretty fun, especially with
Strider. As long as it's not the Cubs, that's fine with me.
There you go.
Yeah, that's how I feel about the Cardinals, but I obviously don't have to worry about that this year. I'm gonna go with. I agree with Tom. Oh, who do you have winning, the Phillies or the Yankees? By the way.
Oh yeah.
I'll go Phillies.
Yeah. I hate that I'm aligned with my colleague here, but I'm gonna also go with the Phillies and not the Yankees. I'm still. The Yankees still have some pitching transgressions from the starting lineup that I don't fully believe in unless they buy.
Best bullpen, though.
Their bullpen's nasty.
Yeah.
Probably the best, honestly, top to bottom.
Clay Holmes is nasty.
Clay Holmes, and with that pitching coach, what he did with Luke Weaver, I don't know how much we can believe that, but the run and spin on Luke Weaver's pitches right now are ridiculous, and he's been through different places, and credit where credit's due. As much as I hate to say it, the Cardinals typically do have some black magic in their pitching development. And I guess, I don't know, with Weaver, I never really thought he was going to be that good. So, I mean, I guess whatever that Yankees guy picked up on is huge. And I always think that's one of the really interesting things about the trade deadline is when pitching coaches point out some mechanics that they notice on some guy. And like with us, we got Jesse Chavez from you guys a few years ago, and he had like a .86 ERA just for that half season because of whatever adjustment they made. And like I always think that's pretty cool. And you have to really be confident if you're going to come up, to the front office and make that move. But
Jesse Chavez is a lot like Panama City. He like leaves. Jesse Chavez and the Braves is a lot like Panama City. Anyways, leaves for a little bit and then you come right on back.
But I'm gonna go with the Orioles. I think that they are gonna make it, but lose to the Phillies as well. I don't know. Something in the water in Baltimore. I just could see it really does come down to, though, which is a cold take, who wins that division, because your draw is going to be tough if you're on the road from the AL East. So we'll see. But the Orioles really do have some 2015 Cubs vibes to them, in my opinion. All young, really exciting guys coming up. Dave, what you got before we?
I want Braves. I'm going to stick with Braves-Orioles.
Braves-Orioles.
Yeah, I think that the Orioles have enough depth.
Even without Scriver?
That time,
no Strider?
Yeah, I mean, it's a biased pick, but it is one of those that if they can get through, look, they won it in 2021 without Ronald Acuna Jr., which I would say is maybe more impressive, like having that stud pitcher. But Chris Sale, to this point, has looked decent, Ronaldo Lopez as like your fourth guy, maybe in the playoffs. Charlie Morton's got to step it up. I think that's kind of washed up. But I think that there's a chance. And so until I don't think that there's a chance, I'm going to ride with the Braves. Yeah.
Fair enough.
I do think that the Phillies, when it's all, like, when you look at the totality of roster, of bullpen, and of those first three, those top three of the rotation, the Phillies are a better team.
Yeah. It's fair.
But the better team ain't always the one who's winning the World Series.
No, it is not. Ask the Diamondbacks, they made it. But Thomas, thanks for your time. We appreciate it coming off work here and getting a new voice on here, learning about the depths of Bama sports. So thank you again. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, you were officially a part of the longest segment in Afternoon Underdogs history.
Well, happy to make history, and it's been an absolute pleasure, boys.
Thank you. You have a good one, Thomas. And
you guys too. Bye.
And we got to cut to break here. You're riding with the Afternoon Underdogs. You just witnessed history here. The longest segment to date. 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe, covering ESPN Northwest Florida. Ran by the best host in the world, David Hayes.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
You can dunk. I can dunk what? Donuts? You can't dunk? What do you mean I can't dunk? You've never been able to dunk. You're not a short guy. I'm 6'1". I can't dunk.
Yeah, I'm
Why would you think I can dunk? Well, I mean, I see your jersey in the studio. You got your own bobblehead. I'm just sitting there thinking, okay.
That's a radio bobblehead.
This guy can dunk.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Weekdays 5 to 7 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast on ESPN Northwest Florida this Tuesday. For tonight, some clouds and very light showers and a low of 76 with a gentle breeze out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour. Tomorrow morning, mostly sunshine with temps around 81. In the afternoon and evening, sunny with a moderate breeze and a temperature near 81. Moving into Thursday, about the same with a high of 84 and mostly sunny. This forecast is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for keeping that dial at ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Bestway Portable Buildings has been your portable building specialist since 1989. Before you invest your hard-earned money someplace else, owner Jason Mulder invites you to stop by Bestway and get a quote on just about any size building. And whether you buy with Bestway or not, it's worth the trip just to meet Bestway Buddy. Say hello, buddy. Good boy. Bestway Portable Buildings, just north of Hartz Marine on 231, and online at bestwayportablebuildings.com. The best in portable, period. Tell them Buddy sent ya.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
We want a big-time sports show. Tune in for the Afternoon Underdogs.
We're live and local here.
Weekdays from 4 till 6.
We need one more SEC team in there to shake things up.
The Afternoon Underdogs are on the air. 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
We're back on the Afternoon Underdogs, throwing chairs off the 6th floor with another Morgan Wallen song. Come on. But you're coming into the second to last segment here. And
Over under 70 songs for Morgan Wallen's next
If I'm on, Morgan Wallen is going to be on. But I'd be remiss not to mention Arnold High School against South Walton tonight. 2 powerhouses in our area. Deking it out, 7 p.m. You got to buy tickets on
the GoFan app. So it's a very easy process.
And typically at those, I wouldn't sweat it out because if you go, they make you show the ticket and you can scan a QR code and buy it there. But you got to have faith in your cell network because sometimes at PCB Sports Complex, it's a little iffy out there.
Ooh, that's a
little iffy. But
good point.
Don't panic if you can't find it on GoFan is what I'm saying. You just make sure you get your butt in the seat at the game because it is going to be a thriller. Dave, do you know who's on the mound tonight?
I don't know if it's going to be Cooper, if it's going to be Eli. I would imagine that they're going with Cooper off the rest here. But if they're, with the last couple of games, like I mentioned earlier, they'll be down in the 6th or the 7th inning. He steps up to bat, he puts them ahead or he ties them, and the next thing you know, he's on the mound closing it out. So maybe they roll out Eli Blair to start it, and then, Cooper comes in to close it down.
Is there a stream, too, where people can catch this at all? Or
I don't know about a stream.
If you know of a heroic Arnold mom, just if someone's, Facebook Live or anything, please drop it in the comments too for people who can't make it or have to tend to their family.
You got to watch out with that because the next thing you know, you got people that's over there in Hong Kong dropping links. No, I'm joking. I'm being facetious.
I was going to say.
How,
we have a large outreach here at the Afternoon Underdogs.
There's sometimes where I'll like a status. The next thing you know, someone's tagging me with, you can watch this here or whatever. And I
like your profile and have seen what you post. Please follow me here.
Yeah. Please message me like this is essentially a message right here, right? It's a comment, message, same exact thing. But that's going to be a huge game tonight. So if you ain't got nothing going on, go support them. Knicks Pacers, also a big game tonight.
Big game.
What do you think we see here out of Game 5 from the Knicks and the Pacers?
It's going to... Both of these games tonight are awesome. Yeah. I'm very excited about it. We got a good slate of NBA tonight. I love, there's nothing better than just having NBA on in the background, especially third and fourth quarter, watching these guys go hard just because in the NBA, it's the one where you really don't get that full 110% until the playoffs, which
really you don't get those till Game 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah. I mean, last night, seeing guys diving for loose balls and stuff and battling it out, and it's awesome. I got to go with the Knicks tonight. Grew up, in the same area as Jalen Brunson playing. Our teams played against him and stuff.
So you've been on the floor at the same time with Jalen?
He played 2 years up actually, and he torched our high school too, in the playoff game and in the regular season game. It's nice to know that you see your friends get cooked by him. One of my buddies got 2 fouls on him in 40 seconds and was riding the pine because in high school too, it's 8-minute quarters, everything. Yeah. But he dropped 42 or 43, and it was one of those guys you just knew. Another one. And there was another, my friend to this day says that Brunson told him the floor was wet, so he shouldn't feel as bad. Don't believe it. He definitely broke his ankles, where the player slides and the player looks at you, makes the shot. Happened to him, and it was definitely just nasty handles. Just such a good player. One of those guys you see, and even though he's not the biggest guy on the floor, watching him, you see him in high school and you're that guy is going to the NBA. And it was kind of surprising too, watching him come up. Sorry, I'm on a tangent now.
No,
because I was Villanova, really? Because he was getting recruited by Duke, Kansas, Michigan State had some of the predictions on 24/7 for him too, because it was regional. A lot of guys like Max Christie, also in our conference, who plays on the Lakers, went there, but also he's younger than Brunson. But Brunson ended up going to Villanova and then won 2 rings there with Jay Wright, which we all know.
Looks he made the
right choice.
Decision. The right choice.
And actually, Thomas was helping out over, he worked as a grad assistant or something at Villanova. So there's some pictures of that team and him. And you see Jay Wright and you see Thomas working the media box in the background. He's like, me and Jay Wright, just my boy.
Hey, that's my boy from way back in the day. Yeah. No, that's really cool, man. And then here's the other thing. If he doesn't go to Villanova, then he's not around Dante DiVincenzo or Josh Hart. And that has been the heartbeat of the New York Knicks this year. I mean, now imagine how much better they would be with Anunoby and with Julius Randle. I mean, I don't even think that's being talked about still, just because he's been out for so long. But imagine how good they would be, because then we're not just talking about the top 7 for the New York Knicks. They're 9 deep at that point, bare minimum.
And outside of Sunday night, Brunson's playoff run's been nothing short of incredible. Dropping 40, 45 plus, shooting 60%.
You cannot stop him when he gets near the paint and then he hits that little step back jumper on you.
And they're all tough shots. They're not easy shots.
TJ McConnell, whoever it is, if it's Neesmith on him, if it's Nembhard on him, whoever it is, 9 times out of 10, they're playing really good defense on him.
Maxey harassing him in that Sixers one. That's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down another time. Just the demise of the Sixers and how they just fall apart every time. But I know, you're rooting for the Pacers. I'd love to know what your thoughts are.
I mean, I think that it starts with trying to slow down Jalen Brunson. But again, what is the key for the Pacers in general? It's not defense. They try to play defense, but they're not good defensively at all. So it's you see it really early on with the Pacers. I mean, they had that Game 2 lead right after the whole Game 1 debacle. They had a 10-point lead going into halftime against the Knicks and then kind of gave that up, and you thought that they would stay on track. But you can see it pretty early on in a Pacers game. Are they going to be on? Now, what I like to see...
Really early.
Really. I mean, because if they start shooting from 3 and if they're 40% early on, just watch out, because they tend to get lights out. But here's what I've loved to see, or here's what I've loved seeing from the Pacers in games 3 and 4, because games 1 and 2, you were seeing the Knicks they were swallowing up all of the offensive rebounds. That trend kind of changed in games 3 and 4, and now Miles Turner was playing a huge role. Isaiah Jackson off the bench was getting some really good boards. In game 3, the little step back from Drew Nembhard right there. I mean, that game, no one was expecting him to make that. When I almost jumped on top of the house when I saw him make that shot, But that's what it is for the Pacers, is being able to play minuscule amounts of defense, but you have to stop them a few times down the stretch. There's no way it's going to be the same blowout game that it was the other night, though.
Right.
No way.
No, it's going to be to the wire. I think that's a cold take.
I think I agree with you.
And whoever wins this is winning the series, right?
I don't know about that.
Really?
Because...
And that's also kind of a colder take, because it's...
Well, I guess it would make sense... If it's the Knicks, if the Knicks win tonight, then I would say whoever's winning this game wins the series. I think the Pacers can win this game and still lose the series, because you go back to Indiana and now you're, all hyped up and the crowd is electric and all of that stuff. But if Halliburton has another game like he had in game 1, the Knicks are going to take full advantage of that. And I could see it being Hallie having a huge night tonight, 34 plus, right?
I'd love to see that for him. I'd be happy for him. He's such a likable guy.
And he is, man. He's got 2 different voices. It's a great thing. I think he's one of those players that you're like, all right, this is how, if you want to emulate someone from the NBA, emulate this guy. Shares the ball well. He chases rebounds. His defense isn't the best, but he had a huge block against Brunson the other night.
He did. Just don't emulate his pregame outfits.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea there. But I think Hallie could have a huge game tonight and then a decent game in game 6. Let's say the Pacers win tonight, a decent game in game 6, but they fall, and then they go to the Garden and he has one of those, 6 shot attempts on the night, and it just fizzles out for him. The Pacers ain't supposed to be here. Now, again, we're looking at the injuries of the New York Knicks and kind of giving them that excuse in the debate, if you will. But we're talking about the 6 seed versus the 2 seed, and yes, you're right. We do got to go to a break.
Riding with Afternoon Underdogs. Catch Arnold tonight. Public Sports Complex, 7 p.m. 104.3 Panama City, 101.9 Port St. Joe. Covering ESPN Northwest Florida.
It's the PCB Hobby Takeover with Todd. Mondays at 5:20 on ESPN Northwest Florida.
That is a very high-end card and very rare.
Todd talks about coins, trading cards, collectibles, and the amazing stories behind them.
It was the first one that's ever come through my door.
Plus, we'll be taking your calls and questions at 850-215-6290. The PCB Hobby Takeover.
A platform for you to do your hobby.
Mondays at 5:20 on the Sports Talk Monster. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Here at Tracy's Fine Jewelry, we're here to help you celebrate the graduating
your life. What better way to celebrate this moment in time than with an exquisite timepiece? We have a large selection of Bulova and Caravelle watches, now 15% off. Tracy's Fine Jewelry has the perfect personalized gifts, from diamond initial pendants and rings to monogram pieces they'll cherish for a lifetime. All on sale today for 30% off. Commemorate your graduate today and show them how proud you are with a gift from Tracy's Fine Jewelry on the corner of 15th Street and East Avenue in Cedar Grove.
Are you hungry for authentic Mexican cuisine? Then come to El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials, Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus, live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive, across from the Navy base.
The battle for a 7th straight division crown starts right now. And the East already knows, don't sleep on the Atlanta Braves.
Swung on, belted, deep right field, gone! Home run, Michael Harris.
Tonight, Truist Park comes alive for Atlanta Braves baseball as Matt Olson and the Braves take on Dansby Swanson and the Chicago Cubs.
Coverage starts tonight at 6 on your home for the Atlanta Braves on the Gulf Coast, ESPN, Northwest Florida.
You're riding shotgun with the Afternoon Underdogs. We're going to need some gas money. The Afternoon Underdogs.
Fill her up, please.
At 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
From back home, buddies in the field, mud on the wheels, yeah, ain't that some thick smoke? Silverado tearing up a 2-lane road, ain't that some...
And we're back for the speedy segment with the Afternoon Underdogs. We got about three and a half minutes here to cut to the cold hard facts here. Tonight, Arnold baseball against South Walton baseball. I got some neighbors who go to Arnold, so I'll be pulling for Arnold tonight. I got some guys on the team. But honestly, either way, it's going to be awesome to see either of these teams make it. Dave, you got anything?
I'm just really excited for that game. Get you the GoFan app. Go check out Public Sports Park Field 2, man. Arnold, South Walton. I mean, hey, this area is getting someone into the Final Four, regardless of how you look at it. They played too long ago. I believe South Walton got the better of Arnold, so Arnold looking for some get back tonight. Coopers, Moss, Eli Blair, litany of great baseball players over there at Arnold. Hey, and Bo's been doing some great things as well. This area is in prime position for baseball. We've already got a state champion out of Arnold and their soccer.
Let's make it two. Come on.
So let's get another one for Arnold here. Also, real quick, while we're on the subject of Arnold, Danny Griffin, great friend of ours.
Yeah, he said
daughter.
before that too, he said that Livy comment, he said he's holding me ransom for $100, or he's going to tell Vicky I said that.
Oh,
so
boy.
It's okay. Vicky knows what she signed up for. So bring it on, Danny. But
what about Lexi, though? Where's she headed to?
She's headed to the greatest conference on planet Earth, the Big Ten. Happy for her. Can't say I ever root for Iowa, but I will be rooting for Iowa women's soccer. Such a great accomplishment. She's a heck of a player. Had interest from a ton of schools, SEC, Big Ten, you name it. Danny is actually pretty humble about it, which I got to give him credit for. And I'm really happy. They're a great family. She's a great kid, and she should make an instant impact for that team. And, I'll be rooting for them through and through. And I hope she has a game in Bloomington. Danny and I can make a little car road trip up there.
There you go. Hey, it would be really cool if she played anywhere around this area and we could get an opportunity to all go see her together or something like that. And yeah, if she, from the time that I got to meet her when she came in the studio, which if she's back in the summer at all, man, we need to have her on because this is kind of what she's going to school for. She just got a great head on her shoulders, man. And I think this is awesome for Danny. For sure. Especially now, kind of almost getting close to that empty nest phase, but still got both of the kids playing some collegiate soccer. Proud of him, and really glad that you were, that you introduced us, because at your wedding he was like one of the only people that I knew until I ended up meeting Austin.
Austin, great guy too.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'm really excited for him, and he deserves it. And I just hope we can do a little road trip. I'm thinking of that Jim Carrey movie. I can't remember the name. He's like, Big Cold, huh? Or him and that guy are singing. What's that called?
Dumb and Dumber?
Dumb and Dumber, yeah. He's dumber, I'm dumb.
Movie buff. Hey, but you thought we were talking Denver and Minnesota. We ain't talking nothing.
No, we're not, because the speedy segment is now over. Yeah. But Nuggets are probably going to win tonight. Hopefully we go 7. Jokic should be nice. Anyway, Arnold baseball tonight versus South Walton. That's the big storyline of the day, storyline of the week. Two teams that we love in Bay County. 7 p.m. Public Sports Park Field Dose. You can buy your tickets on
GoFan app. Hey, y'all have a great day. Big shout out to Max for coming in and hosting and let me just run the board today. It was a lot of fun. Thanks to our guests, Cole and Thomas, for all that they brought to the table. Y'all have a great day. Get out there to the Public Sports Park. Just remember, Jesus loves you, so do we.
America's team plays here.
And a rocket to right field. This thing is into orbit.
The Atlanta Braves.